themselves by what they are doing at that time, by what job description is.
Hello, Mr. Destiny.
Hi, Beko.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you smiling?
I don't know. Today feels like it's going to be a good day. How are you?
Today is going to be a good day.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to. I think Arsenal have a match today, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, okay.
So let's get it out. Let's get this out of the way.
Welcome to your diary session.
Thank you.
So on today's session, your question is: was there a moment you realized that you were different and wired for more? What was that moment like for you?
So I think it was when I was in JS3, either JS2 or JS3. In as much as I was a very brilliant student, I could remember those days when we have a teacher in the class and other pupils are focusing on what is being taught in class. Most time I usually find myself, you see that I'm looking out the window because my seat was close to the window, those government school at that time. So you see that I was looking out the window and I was usually thinking about so many things. My mind was always thinking about, creating things, building things. You see that I'm looking forward to, go out to the field and play football. There's this part of me that was always expressive, not literally in the educational sense, but expressive when it comes to creativity. I was always brainstorming stuff. I was always writing ideas at that level, and I was honestly thinking something was wrong with me at some point. Like, in my primary school days, I didn't have this problem. To me, then it was a problem. I didn't have this. My mind was not distracted from my education. But when I was in secondary school from JSS1, JSS2, JS3, I started to, experience this behavior that was not like the norm from every other student. So I felt maybe something was wrong with me, because I was always as if I was a scientist, kind of. I was always thinking outside of the box. It was not, at that time I realized that there was actually something in me that was different, that was different from the norm, different from my colleagues in school then. I had a lot of friends, but there was something that was different from me comparing to them. And that was when I knew I had something different. That was where I knew I was wired for more, So it all makes sense. It all makes sense when I started to understand life. When I lost my mom, when I went through all the struggles. It all made sense when those experiences happened, and that's when I started to realize that those things I was feeling back then, they were actually who I was. This is who I am. I'm someone who likes to explore. Like, I'm not comfortable with doing just one thing at a time. Like, I'm not talking about multitasking, but I'm talking about, I always have that urge, that zeal to build, that zeal to create, and all of that. So, and it was that time in my secondary school days, that's when I realized that, my guy, it's like you are different, you are wired for more. And since when it became a realization that, this is who I am, and I embraced, that part of me, that part of always trying to, that curiosity. I think they call it polymaths. Polymaths are people who are more like generalists. We have specialists, people who are like disciplined, core in one discipline, one field. But then you have polymaths. They are people who are generalists. They are like specialists in a general form. So I think over time I have realized that that's who I am, and so yeah.
Yeah. So what take-home lesson do you have for people who are yet to discover who they are and are trying to figure that out? What take-home lesson do you have for them from your own experiences in discovering who you are?
So I would say that there will always come a time in your life where you will know when that part of you will come out. And most time you might be thinking something is wrong with you, just like how I felt initially in secondary school. So when you are in that phase in your life, you just have to embrace that part, embrace that part of you. And over time, you'll see that that's actually who you are. So let's try to embrace that part of you that doesn't want to belong. As humans, we are social beings. You always want to belong with other people, want to do what they do. But if you see that you are not that kind of person that is trying to belong, it means that's not who you are. So try to give yourself time and embrace that aspect of you, and it will definitely bring out your identity.